I want to tell you a true story that, yes, I have been sitting on this for a long time and procrastinating on what games I should put on my top 20 list. So Tarrant's like, when are we going to do it? When are we going to do it? I'm like, tomorrow, next weekend. And I was like, okay, I finally have got the 20 games or 21 games. I'm sort of like, I'm in R-ing. And then listing number 1 and 20. There's a lot of great games. And a lot of them are coming a little bit later in the year. So you may see some of the games in our top games of the month, but then also then there's these games that you haven't heard of, we're talking about, and also then what are they doing there because of that.
Yes, and welcome. We are here. It is time to review the top games of 2025, our favorite games.
AKA our rumbling. So thank you for listening. Hi, I'm Stella, by the way.
And I'm Tarrant.
Welcome to Maple University. Obviously, we don't just teach in Maple University. We rambles about games that we like. So that's okay, I guess.
Indeed. So what we're going to do, as we have the last couple of years, Stella has compiled top 20 games of 2025. Mm-hmm. I have compiled my top 10.
This time it's top 10.
Yeah, because I always like to cut a little closer to the bone when I'm giving out the praise. I don't think that's a surprise for many people.
You tell me.
So we're going to take you through those. How we'll do this is we'll go through Stella's 20 through 16. Mm-hmm. Then I have a special list. Look forward to that. Then we'll go through Stella's 15 through 11, and then we'll go through 10 to 1.
Because we can house rule this. Yay!
There's no whatever we want. It's our video.
Yay! There's no rule book about it.
Yes.
So technically we create our own rule book. Not even house rules.
Yes. We've done our level best to keep this list as games that were released in 2025. Of course, that is a nebulous definition at times, and you may disagree and you may not, and that's fine because of the aforementioned house rules rule.
Rules, non-house rule rules are on rules. But hey, I might not hear about the game until later on, or it might not be widely distributed till a bit later on. I mean, violin, we live in Australia. We use that as an excuse. Come on, you know that.
Yep, all right, let's get into it.
No, I want to ask you first. What are your top games? Sorry, Tarrant. What are your top games of 2025, or some of your top games that you have been compiling? How indecisive are you compared to me?
Yes, that is very important. The views of the community are always exciting, especially when it comes to big list making like this.
Yes, and I appreciate some of the games that I have not heard, which some of these you probably, what is that? Like, we don't always stick to the big games, or we just play all games. We source the games from anything and everything, whether it's review copy, paid copy, copies or the games that we bought ourselves. Everything here is our own opinions only, purely. All right, since you are pretty keen about sharing your list.
Chomping at the bit.
Yeah, you start first.
No, we're doing your 20
Oh, yes, that's what you said.
I got to put my feet up for like half an hour.
I thought I was going to let you do that first. No?
No, we'll break up your...
Okay, so firstly, before my game number 20, if we have the game that we talk about, we will link you in the video description below if you want to check out more or find out more information about it. So without further ado, my number 20 is Take Time. This is a cooperative game where you have limited communication to place cards at the right place. At the right place. Not at the right time, despite of the name. I mean, technically, maybe the
it does kind of sound like a race, but it is I guess, think Bomb Busters.
Hang on. Like a race, you say take time.
Yeah.
Not a race at all. Like slowly.
Oh, yes, slow and steady. So think of games like Bomb Busters and something like The Mind.
Yeah.
It is a game of limited communication, but small amounts of communication, and you have to try to work with your teammates, discern what they may be holding, discern what they're playing, and ultimately you're trying to play 12 cards, mostly face down, some face up, into 6 wedges around a clock and meet a bunch of objectives. And that always includes having them go in ascending order. It always includes having the sum in each wedge being less than 24. And from there, it's all sorts of things. You could have a wedge that needs a certain combination of card colors or a specific sum or things like that.
Yeah, the games that I don't mind failing on it many times, but that's part of the learning curve and part of the fun. So that's take time. I believe that was SN 2025 release. Very fun game. I think that one, it's deriving from the mine, but I like this one better because there are more strategy around it. And it's kind of like if you keep playing with the same group as well, you kind of like talk within the group. There are some rules that you can't do, but playing the same groups and you just have certain rules amongst yourself that is still legal.
Yeah, you get to do a lot of strategization here. Because you strategize and then you pick up your cards and look at them. And you can, other than basically coming up with a secret code where you signal what cards you've got, you can pretty much do any sort of strategizing.
Yes, very simple, very fun working together, and some rules introduced a bit later on in the scenario. So you're learning slowly. Very fun.
Okay, 19.
Yes, I've been keeping this in the book for this year because I first played this not this year but last year as a prototype, Suds and Malone.
Yes, I think it was fulfilled very late in the year. Suds and Malone is a midweight Euro game. It is a critter noir kind of feel.
Just love the theme.
It is a very cute theme. It's got a little bit of a detective logic deduction kind of thing. And you've got actions that you can level up. So it's dice drafting. Each die corresponds to an action, which lets you move around and collect clues and things like that, or level up your actions. So it starts as a weak action, but some of them will get strong as you go along. Then you zip around and you look for clues and you look at suspects and you do side cases that give you money that let you focus on things.
Very cute artwork, as I said before, as you explain it, and I love the engine building part of it to make your action stronger. And it's slightly different. It's like it's engine building with something else, and then that something else is deduction of, you see something, that means that this is not the suspect because I've seen it, and then the rest would be the deduction of those the people or the creatures that might be the suspect. Side quest is really cute and fun.
Yeah, the information gets revealed gradually through the game. So you're trying to, a big part of scoring comes from icon matching the 4 suspects.
Yes.
And as you see things, you're eliminating it so you know what kinds of cards to target for that.
Yep. So my number 18 is The One. The One is a game that I got back from Essen that didn't make it whole.
It got fairly well, it got a lot of water damage on the way back.
Yep.
But that did not change the ability to play and enjoy the game.
No. We did a couple of rules mistake at the start, but we finally got there, and we're playing it on Board Game Arena as well now. And it's great with 2 players, got with 3 players, I think 4 players. It's just like, it's great with any number of players, I think, but it just has got slightly different dynamics. Really simple rules, and so you either take cards or place camp. And then as you place camps, you gain more objectives and gain more things that will boost your objective, that helps with your objectives. And then there's a little bit of collecting certain things that gives you point or majority of having fire. So it's very elegant game, like very elegant.
And very tight. Much more tight from a map placement game than you see in a lot of games these days. You are trying to get your tents down in clusters of tiles clusters of hexes of certain areas, and as you're placing down, you basically use them up. You've got to get in there quickly before other players do. So it becomes very tight, and that fear that someone's going to take the spot you need is very real.
Very high. Well, we're going to go to the next game. Whether you watch this a whole thing, because this is probably going to be long video. I'm saying this, it makes it longer, but anyways, you might actually skip it to the next one, which is fine, whatever. So game number 17 is Night Soil. This is by Grail Games. This is The theme might turn some people off maybe because this is about the storage in old London.
Yes. It is I guess it's kind of a two-part worker placement.
Yeah.
You go through rounds placing workers out into London to do various things, and that will also put down brown cubes representing by night soil. And then that's during the day, and then in the evening you use your other workers and actions to push the cubes around, and you try to gain these benefits by pushing the cubes around. You gain workers for the next round by doing that. So if you do a bad job of cleaning up the night soil, you end up with a lean round next round. It becomes pretty tight.
Pretty tight. But you can actually catch up. I've seen that happen. Like I had such a bad run, round one time, but then kind of like caught up the next round. I think it is like not like, oh, you did one teeny weeny mistake and then your whole game is ruined, and it's not like that. So it's very tight, very good. There's some track advancement as well. They are just very, like, your action now affecting, double effect, triple effect for the next time.
Yep. There's majorities you've got to fight for.
Yes.
A lot of the money and points in small quantities come from cleaning up the most cubes in a round.
Yes.
So it keeps it very tight.
Like, I don't mind the theme at all. I think it's fun. It's quirky, I think. Game number 16 before it gets to Tarrant's turn is Formidable Farm.
Formidable Farms.
Formidable. So this is a card shading game, and the way you card shade your cards is by contract fulfillment. So you have a bunch of contracts that you need to do worker placement, gathering resources, and then when you complete contract, you also gain resources or bonuses that makes you draw cards from your deck, because whoever that completes your cards first wins the game.
Yeah, this didn't make my top 10, but it was, as a light filler game, this really stood out to me as being something different.
Yes.
Yeah, it was get through your deck of 20 cards if it was
20
two
contracts,
players or whichever one it is, but you can, the contracts were essentially relatively even resource exchanges, and there was a common market that you could go from, but you could only complete 3 contracts per round. So you're completing these contracts from the common market so that you have the resources to complete the cards from your hand, and it means you end up completing more overall contracts for the game, but you kind of need that to get things rolling. And it's just kind of this quick, fun...
very quick fun.
You don't have to think too hard about it, but it works so well as a filler.
It's a good family game. And 2F Spiel, Friedemann Friese did it again. Because their games are very different from one the other. I mean, there are 2 games that we got from Essen Release 2025 from Essen Spiel. The other one, also a fun trick-taking game, and it's quite different, and it is, just don't quite make my top 20 feelers, it's called. It's also good. Check it out. Now, the moment that I've been waiting for, I don't know if you've been waiting for this, I have. Tarrant has not mentioned what is this special list. Now, without further ado, Tarrant, please share what it is and why you're doing it.
So it's not really that special. But, we always do this list at the end of the year. We're doing it a bit later this year at the end of January. And part of that was just to give ourselves more time to play the games that came out at the end of 2025. Especially because Essen was another 2 weeks later last year than it had been in the past. It was hard to get everything played. So I wanted to get more games played so that nothing missed this list just because we didn't get to it until the following year.
That's what we say now, but then next year I was like, oh, actually this game.
It is possible. But last year some games missed out. There were some great games from 2024 that I didn't play until 2025, and they missed the list, and I could go back and do a retrospective of 2024 video, but everyone loves new, and so they're just going to miss out the capstone video. So I'm going to do it now. This is my revised. I'm going to go through my top 10 of 2024. I'm not going to explain every game. I'm going to explain the 3 games that have come into the list because I played them later.
Yeah.
So quick revision, 10-1 of my top games from 2024. So Number 10 was Sunavalo. Number 9 was This Bed Is Mine.
So these games have not changed?
These games have not changed.
Yeah.
I will stop and talk
Yeah.
about the ones that have changed,
Okay,
that have
okay.
been added.
Right.
Number 8 was Flatiron. Number 7 was Fishing or Fishin'. So this, we've just been talking about Freedom and Freezer and the different kinds of games that he brings. And this was a trick-taking game that was an Essen release in 2024. And it really stood out to me as being a very fun representation of a non-contract trick-taking game. I say from time to time when we do reviews on trick-taking games that I grew up on more so on contract trick-taking games like 500 and Euchre and things like that, rather than a Microsoft Hearts type of game where you're trying to make the most of the hand you've got. And what Fishin' does is you play over, it's a very simple trick-taking game. You're just trying to win as many cards as possible across 8 rounds. But the cards you win then get shuffled and put underneath or into your own personal deck, and then you draw the next round from that deck. And so if you win a lot of cards, you end up with all of the bad cards that were in those tricks becoming your hand for the next round. So you have this terrible round. Whereas if you did not take very many cards and you don't have enough cards in that deck to make up your hand, you get to draw all these new cards from the awesome deck that has all the trumps and the high numbers and the special powers.
The better numbers, the cool stuff.
Yeah, and so you play over 8 rounds, and it's enough time for everyone to go through an ebb and flow of having good rounds and bad rounds. And then at the end, you're trying to be the one who's ahead at the end. So is it highly tactical, and is the best player always going to win? Yeah,
very
maybe.
tricky.
Yeah,
I can never judge like when to pull back and then not win, when to try to win. Well, you have some general ideas of when you're going to start doing that. At the start, you probably try not to win too much, if possible.
But it's the thing that makes it. It's the thing that makes it good is that if you're playing a Microsoft Hearts, each individual hand is dealt to you randomly, and you might just get you might never get a good hand if you play 4 or 5 rounds, or you might have more bad than good. But this one, everyone is by the nature of the deck building going to end up having a mix of good and bad hands.
Yeah.
And that is
great.
That's the secret. That's what makes it a really fun game, I think.
The secret ingredients, recipe.
So number 7 for 2024, Fishin'. Number 6 was Fairy Ring. Number 5, a new addition, is Lone Wolves. Lone Wolves is a 2-player lane battling game. It's probably not a pure lane battler, but it also has a trick-taking mechanism to it. And when you talk about trick-taking games with 2 players, that can often be quite a tough sell for me. But in this one, how it works, you've got the 5 lanes that you're trying to compete against. There's a leader who plays 1 card into a lane, which also starts a trick. And then the follower has to follow suit. There's a trump that changes throughout play. So they play into that trick, but in whatever lane they want as well. So you're both picking a lane and managing a trick at the same time.
Yes.
The winner of the trick keeps their card face up. It ranks between 2 and 7, and so that will add to the majority for the lane. Whoever loses flips the card over. It only scores 1, but they get to grab a scar token, which is a bonus that can influence a lane. And it might influence the strength for the majority, or it might add an objective to that lane where the player now gets points for every flipped over card that is in there, or something like that. Or they get to exchange the scores for the lanes, because the lanes are worth between 6 and 12 points. And when you play that out over 13 tricks, with a couple of other restrictions and things that get built in, like once there's 6 total cards between the 2 players in a lane, that lane is locked out. So you can try to choke it up by just putting, you're leading a little bit and you can just close it off with a card that you know is going to lose, for example. When you build all of those in, there's just enough fun little juicy things to think about. And you end up with what you end up with is great. So
absolutely.
Lots of things to think about. It's an excellent little game.
I agree. Excellent little games, and I think this applies for both Fission and Lone Wolves. Is that the people that have played it find it like, wow, it's great. It's really fun, but then it's just like a matter of marketing it or distribute it to wider audience to know what is that, what is Lone Wolf. Like, I've spoken to a few people that have played Lone Wolves and they really enjoy it. The same with Fission. I think Fission was brought out in North America by Rio Grande Games. Not too sure about Lone Wolf yet. So this is by Wonderful World of Board Games. I think they're based in Taiwan. So please do check it out if you liked the sound of that. What's next, Darren?
What's next? Next is number 4, and that is also a new addition. So this is the third new addition into the list. It is Lata. This is the second game in what will be a 5-game small box but big experience games by Pythagoras Games.
Yeah.
And they're all based on Portuguese industries of the past.
Of yesteryear.
Yes. And this one is based on making fish in oil and fish in tomatoes, things of canned fish industry. And one thing I always find, I like the kind of game where you can have a very simple production chain with meaningful interactions with other players. And this definitely has that. Your production chain is, there's tomatoes, olive oil, mackerel, and sardines.
Yeah.
And you can, from those 4 things, you can make sardines in oil, and mackerel in tomato. Or is it the other way around? Sardine. Anyway, there's 3 things you can make.
Yeah.
And once you make those, you sell them to markets for coins, and you can spend those coins on scoring cards, because this is a glass road type of thing where pretty much all your points, in fact, I think all of your points, are going to come from, I've got a lot of mackerel cards, so I get the card that gives me points for all my mackerel cards, something like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of all comes out. You've got to go out and grab your objectives. Now, what makes this cool? It's got a nasty little turn order auction.
Very, very brutal.
Really nasty turn order
You love
auction,
it.
and it's wonderful. You've got 9 action, you're bidding with action points. And you've got 9 action points to play with, and you bid them on going first, and it goes from there. So if there's something you really want, you've got to give up a bunch of actions to do it, and it's a great currency. When you do that, there becomes an open draft, so that's what gets things into your production chain in that turn order. Then you go out to the market and sell your things in that turn order, and then you go and buy the scoring cards in that turn order. And so it's really important, and as I say, really nasty. And the money is really tight as well. It's this nice interplay where if you've got lots of, well, no, you'll never have lots of money. You can either use the money to put cards in better places in your production chain, or you can spend the money on points, and you've got to try to balance those out.
It's really tricky. It's brutally good.
Yes.
Very interactive as well, obviously.
Yes. So Lata, I'd highly recommend that one. That was my final number 4 for 2024. And then my top 3 were unchanged. Veil of Eternity at 3, SETI at 2, and Terminus at 1. So there we go. That is a look back to the games that didn't quite get played in 2024, but deserved the praise and deserve a space in this video.
Tarrant has prepared this for a long time. Like, I don't know, it's like months in the making, and then he thought about it and what he's going to do and so on. So this video technically should be called Meeple University's Top Games of 2025 plus Tarrant's Revised Game of 2024.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Moving on.
Back to you. Number 15. 15.
Yes.
2020. What year are we in? 5.
All right. It is The Druids of Eldora. This is by Stefan Feld. And this is a game of point salad, but it's not just like all over the place. It is, well, I've tried like different strategies, playing different number of players. I think for me, it doesn't really matter for this one, whether it's 2 players or 4 players, because to a certain degree, I think, because the board adjusted itself pretty well, I think. it is a game of engine building. Let's just say that. Lots and lots of engine building.
Yes, and it is a game of, as many Stefan Feld games are, playing the dice that you've been given. So you will have 13 dice across the game and they get rolled from the very beginning and never changed.
Yep.
And every turn you're going to move to a shrine, pick one of the actions that's on that shrine and block it with your die. Take that action. All those actions give you various ways of going up on tracks and points and things like that. There are benefits for being the player with the highest die value in a given space, both for ongoing and endgame scoring. But, I hear you ask, well, if I roll all 6s, then I'm clearly going to win. But that balances out because it becomes more expensive for you to place your dice if they're high. And
Because
so
you have to pay your dice, pip, din, din, din. That's good.
Yeah, so you end up with this with this flow of play where if you know you've got a high die pip game ahead, you're going to have to spend 1 or 2 extra actions just getting the food that you need to pay for it. Whereas if you've got a bunch of low dice, all right, you're not going to go into things that are worth majorities.
Yep.
But you're not going to have to pay as much food to take your actions.
What I love most about it is how you need to change your action. So a lot of the actions that you need, or some of the actions that you can do, is to gain more dice, aka worker, and proficient, which is how you pay food and how you move. You don't actually start with all of your workers and only limited number of proficients. And there are some actions on the board that some are directs, basically get dice or proficients. Some are indirect, so you build something else that gives you that as a bonus, right? So you have to make sure that your 5 druids, if possible, lasts until all of your druids are taken to your supply and played without having to do druid in distress action, which is taking dice and proficients.
Yes, and
That's
not very many of them.
Yeah, not very many of them. So that's kind of like the things that you have to strategize depending on what things are available on the board and when you're going to do it. Like whether you want to move far and then gain that bonus to connect 2 things to gain the extra bonus, or you want to just like stop there and then risk that for other people to get that bonus. Make sure that you have enough dice and proficiency.
Yeah, you have a lot of flexibility. You can move as far as you want as long as you pay for that cost. And so it gives you a very broad brush of ideas on what is the best way to do things and where you need to jump in and steal something before someone else does.
Game number 14 is Lightning Train. This is not Ticket to Ride, so it's definitely heavier than that, and it's based on back building, I should say. It's very fun, train building and trying to get the right action, the right contract, so you can build the right station and the right chains and score the most points. It's
an interactive map building and delivery type of game. You will use the bag building to place trains down on the board, which give you little bits of points, and to connect things together, and goods are going to come into play that will be sold. And then when you trigger a sale, the sale will go along the shortest link of various players' trains, and players will get points as things go over their links. So it is about creating paths, particularly inefficient paths that go through a whole lot of your trains within the restrictions of what the contracts in particular, because contracts limit your ability to place in certain locations, trying to find that way and time the deliveries as best you can.
It may appear like it's not actually semi-cooperative, it's incentive. So there's incentive for each player to build certain things and might help the thing, but you actually get the points. And what I love most about it is the deck building. You can get, I should say back building, you can keep some things on the side, you can upgrade your things. It's not really easy to trash your deck, your tile, but there are things that gets you draw more, and the incentive on the boards are great. You're trying to cut someone else's lunch so that you get to that thing that you need to deliver. So there are limited amount of things places that you can deliver to and limited amounts of goods or passengers that you can deliver to. And then if somebody snatch it and all of a sudden you can't deliver it and you lose points. That's very sad.
Yeah. The game has incentivized early game point scoring.
Yes.
So
unlock some bonuses.
Good bonuses as you get there. Because, if you hang back, you can make the end game really work for you. So it does that thing that Ark Nova and various others have done.
I know.
This was very close to my top 10. I think this was really the first out.
Yeah.
And I've heard many critiques of the game, I think most of which are quite fair. I think there's kind of a lot of...
Some like
depending
it, some
on
don't
what
like
things
it.
come... It's a complex bag building mechanism, and you can kind of have resources just come out in random places that don't fit with you.
Yeah. That happened.
I've heard it asked whether the best player, after it all, will the best player win or the luckiest player win? But that's kind of true with deck building as a whole anyway. Given the problem that's set in front of me every turn and the tiles I've got and what's on the board and where I can undercut people, I enjoy that puzzle. I enjoy finding those opportunities and making that work. So, maybe that other stuff is true. It's still a lot of fun as a game.
Yeah, it's like if there's no things like that, then it will be a puzzle, not a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 13 game. Again, this is the game that I've played in prototype copy, so I kept it for 2 years. I was like, had to wait until it's released. It's called Unstoppable. This is actually a solo game or two-player cooperative game. And this is a deck building game. There, you see a pattern here?
Deck building and card crafting. So it's a John D. Clare game, not just game system, I guess, because they are, Renegade is rolling through some other versions of it using this system. It is, I guess the standard John D. Clare is the single-sided card with transparent overlays. This one is double-sided card with notches and a cutout that adds things together on both sides.
Yeah.
So it is every turn, the cards that are going... You don't draw cards into your hand. You draw enemies from your deck and from the area into your enemy area. And then you use the cards in your hand to defeat those enemies. And those enemies then join your hand and flip over to become the cards you use to defeat the next enemies.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of wave after wave. And you get these automatic card craft upgrades each turn that you need to try to manage to defeat these enemies.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I have problems about putting this way on my lists. Now that you say it again, like every time you explain it, every time I talk about it, I should have gone higher, I should have gone higher. Let's pretend that it's probably higher. Anyways, so I don't know if you heard or you know. First, I like reading lit RPG books. Second, when I say reading means more like listening to the audiobook. Secondly, I love Dungeon Crawler Carl. Dungeon Crawler Carl is a series of lit RPG book that I've been listening to because the voice author especially is very talented. That's Jeff Hayes, is really good. Let me know in the comments if you also read or listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl, and then we can yay together. And I heard that, this has been announced that Renegade Game Studios will have Dungeon Crawler Carl game based on Unstoppable. Can you imagine that? It'll be like really, really cool. I can't wait to see. Like I've been seeing advertising that Samantha, one of the characters, Tarrant actually doesn't read that, unfortunately. One of the characters, Samantha, was there. Like she always says, "I will kill your mother." Anyways, and that character is going to be. I can't wait to see because it would be so suitable. Like it's lit RPG books is about like playing RPG, but it's a novel, so it's not like choose your own adventure. And this is a Unstoppable game, so I would imagine like Carl, and then there's like Princess Donuts, which is the characters in it, and they will be like upgrading and then gaining, which is like in the book, right? It's very good. They are going to have a TTRPG game as well, which Renegades also has done a lot of. So Renegade's probably the perfect company. They have lots of IP stuff and doing TTRPG or RPG stuff, and Dungeon Crawler Carl. I cannot wait.
And the unstoppable system. So
Yep.
it is a good system. It's very applicable across
very.
various IPs.
Yes.
It didn't crack my list, but I very much respect. I had it listed as an honourable mention. I really respect what they've done with this system.
Yep.
It looks like it has a really good place.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Maybe the Dungeon Crawl Cal will actually put it up to within my top 10 list next time.
Maybe.
Number 12 is Papiria.
Papiria, very interesting game. It's there's two real mechanisms at play in this game. One is a personal tile placement game. You are drafting squares from an area and building them up and trying to make long rivers and things in clusters and all the kind of good stuff that comes from a tile placement game. But what underlies it and drives it is this interesting little double rondel mechanism.
Yeah.
And so you've got an inner rondel where your boat is going and an outer rondel where your person is going. And they can move and they can take things that are adjacent, but they're interlocking rondels. So the outer one can take two things from the outer spaces, the inner one from the central one and the inner. And then as you build them up, it's not just, hey, I've got my area and then I'm going to score it at the end of the game for all the objectives. You also have to go chasing the scoring tiles.
Love it.
Every time you pick up a shield, it's going to score one of the 9 different objective types. And then you go, all right, well, then I'll just specialize on one and only get that. But no, that doesn't work, because every time you score, you get a small increase on the knowledge track. And the knowledge track is the most points you can get from that score.
Yeah.
So everything kind of builds up gradually, but then absolutely skyrockets at the end.
Yeah, it escalated so big. So I love the double rondel, one of my favorites, and also the fact that you have to work on to actually give yourself score. There's no point if you are chasing certain objectives and your knowledge track is low. So that's actually the maximum you can score. Like 5. I'm like, okay, I've got like so many things, like I should have scored 50, and then your knowledge track is 5, and that's it, you get 5.
Yeah.
So you have to work
It'll
on
never
that.
be that bad, but still,
Yes.
that's the essence of it.
Very fun. Number 11 for me is Jisogi. Jisogi.
Jisogi, this is the game of an anime studio tycoon, I think is the subtitle.
Love the quirkiness, love the artwork, love the components. It is a making an anime production or TV shows, hopefully at the end of 2 rounds, or at the end of every 2 rounds, and scoring points and money and popularity. Well, points is popularity, so money as well.
Yeah, it's a limited worker placement game. Limited in that players can go to the same space and pay a little more money each time someone else is there. But you have workers associated with different colours, and so each one can only take a couple of the different actions. And as you're doing it, you're getting things to put together to make an anime, you're getting art. But the game really is largely about the upgraded workers, because these upgraded workers have combos that let you make your anime worth more points, or they can take actions more powerfully.
Sometimes I need worker placement games that don't block me out completely. Well, this one is, you can still pay money, although money is quite limited. I got into debt many times, but it's normal apparently. You can get more and more debt.
It's limited and not limited, because you can always take more debt.
That's true.
But if you can't pay it off, then ultimately it's going to hurt you at the end.
Yes, it's paying your workers, but I just love the putting the plot things together and then getting the art on and upgrading your workers, and that all just nothing is probably new. Yeah, I don't think any mechanics that we haven't actually seen before, but all put together elegantly. It's a fun game.
Yeah. Everyone has always enjoyed the theme when playing this one, and there's probably one thing that's new. There's a limit on how many victory points you can get.
Oh yes,
and that's where the debts come into
that's
play.
True.
Because once you get to that point, you can't just go permanently into debt to get victory points, because then you can't pay it off, and everyone's gonna be at that top level, and then the players with less debt
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
stay at those
Yeah.
points. Nearly go
That's
down,
true.
so. And so, after 3/4 of an hour, or however long we've been here, we get to the actual title of the video, which is Top 10.
Well, top games, not top 10.
Well,
Why
what
top
people
10?
listen to say.
Okay.
Sorry if you thought we would get straight to the top 10.
Sorry.
Oh.
They just skip this. That's why there's a forward button.
Yes.
So welcome to this, or welcome back, or welcome.
Yes. So we will now go back and forward and go through our top 10 games each. We'll begin with my number 10, which is a game that we spoke about quite recently, Papiria.
Yay!
So I really enjoyed Papiria as well, and I enjoyed the interactions, the positive and negative player interactions that you got on this double rondel were really what made this game sing.
Mm-hmm.
So you could, there was a couple of resources, and you could invest in lapis mines to get this lapis lazuli, which is really the currency for doing little game-breaking things, moving further on rondels, bumping someone out from a rondel, and it had these clever mechanisms where if you finished on the rondel in the same wedge as another player, you could give them some lapis and you would get scrolls.
Yeah.
And scrolls, every time you do a half lap of the board, you can cash in scrolls for knowledge. So that really improves your scoring capability. Meanwhile, if you make your worker line up with your other worker, it gives you this huge moment of flexibility on your grid, because you don't realize how restrictive it's going to be at the start, but every time you place a new tile in your grid, you move a meeple to that space, and you can only build adjacent to that meeple. So
It's true.
you're not building this great expansive tile
everywhere,
placement.
yeah.
You've got this one guy
Very
moving
limited.
around, adding more tiles. So if you bring your two workers together, you can then move your meeple anywhere, and it
Yeah.
gives you the flexibility. And that comes in really handy at times.
Yeah.
So you got all these things working together,
So cool.
and at the same time, the shields pop up that give you scoring, and you're like, well, I'm okay on that shield. It's going to give me a little bit of knowledge, but that guy's going to score 72 points.
You've done that several times, so many times.
It's like that person's going to score a huge amount of
Yes.
points if they get that shield. So I'm going to spend a couple. I've got the lapis to spend. I'm going to go and grab it, take one for the team, but also get 20 points myself. So
Yeah.
it's full of that.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of end game scoring things as well, where certain majorities let you score another objective again. And by this stage, you're scoring like 40 points, 50 points at a time.
Yeah.
And it can be a runaway game. First time
Can
we
be,
played, I won by like 230
Yeah.
points. But it rolls away at the end. That's
Yep.
kind of the nature of it. So you're still going to have a good time getting to that point. So, yeah.
Such a start, the standard is such high because you already talk enthusiastically about a game like that, and this is only number 10. Can you imagine, right?
Imagine how much better it gets.
Yay! Okay, let's
I
continue.
hope Apiria did okay, because I
Yeah.
haven't seen it that much.
No, I think it's
And I know it's a
Iron
small-
Games.
yeah,
Smaller company.
publisher.
Yeah.
It's a very beige game as well. I'm not going to pretend it jumps off the table that way, but it is a really good play. And I'd
Hopefully
recommend
somebody else will pick it up and then distribute it. Come on, Devia. Come on, Capstone. Number 10 is Fortunes of Scoundrel Bay. If you look at the cover, you may think it's a Ameritrash game. It is not. It is a Euro game.
Yes,
It's a pirate theme Euro game.
yes, this is a game of
Opportunities, engine building, all of the above. All of the above.
and multiplayer cards, which you always
Yes.
enjoy.
I always enjoy that. Multiplayer cards.
Yes, you will play a card from your hand, and it will tell you whether you're going to, and then you choose whether you're going to use it to engine build and get more meeples and things, or whether you're going to use it to move, or whether you're going to use it to do an action next to where your ship is. And all of those things have benefit, and all of those things have, you're either going there to pick stuff up and then deliver it somewhere else later, or to just park your meeples to get a majority, or you're going to move and fight monsters and score points for those monsters, and so on. Lots of different ways you can play that.
I love that the good engine building is basically make you stop at a point where you have to stop. You want to keep going, but either someone else would otherwise, or you have to focus on something else, or someone else would have actually do something. But in this one, you have to fit your meeples. Your engine building is your crew. Yes, your actions are stronger. You can cook more food. You can ship further, but then all of those cost you cost you food. And feeding is triggered by if one player goes to a certain thing. So it's kind of like you going around as well. You move around and then doing stuff on the sides and then fighting monsters or whatever. And you have to watch out where your opponent's going, because when somebody else is go to a certain space or advance along a certain space and feeding your meeples triggers, you need to be ready. So you can't like la 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 la, just like upgrading your engines without doing other things or without moving your birds further ahead to gain other stuff that you need.
Yes. The game is by Chili Fox,
Yes.
and you can see a little bit of footprints in there, which was the game from 2 years ago, because everyone is advancing on this linear track, and you can sit down and go as slowly as you want and do all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
But if someone starts to gun it towards the end, where all the good stuff is, that's what's going to trigger the end. And so it becomes this very player-paced progression.
Yeah.
And the first time you play, you're just
There's
going to
always
run out of meeples because everyone's la 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 sitting in the shallow end, doing everything they can, and there's I'm out of meeples to actually do the good stuff. So
So there's
it'll take you a play to work out how the pacing works and how to really be aggressive with it.
I would say this is one of the games that you have to do a burnt game the first time you play it, because you learn by actually doing things and then seeing, how good this actually is, the mechanics of this, I shouldn't do this. So many mistakes. But it's a really great game.
At number 9, I have an expansion. This is very rare, isn't it, to put an expansion as its own game.
Back again to timestamp where we doing our own rules.
Exactly.
For this video.
But the reason I put this expansion is I think it took a base game that I was always fine with, and it really made it sing. And this is Scholars of the South Tigris Body of Books expansion.
La 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 la. Sings.
Yes. So Scholars of the South Tigris, second in the South Tigris series. It is a game. You've got this personal puzzle going on with dice and workers that you combine to make multicolored dice of different pip values to do your action. All of that's fine. And then out on the board, there's 4 actions that you're doing with it, and they're all very interlocking, timing triggered actions. So you can get one of them lets you get translators, one of them lets you release contracts, one of them lets you go up on tracks that makes those stronger, and one of them lets you use the translators to do. And there's all this shared incentive, but all the actions are very balanced. And there's a little bit of engine building in base Scholars, but I always felt it came a little bit late in the game to really give me an area to chase. So I always just kind of felt like, we're all doing relatively balanced things without creating our own personality or our own path. Body of Books adds early game engine building. It's got a new color of die. It's got all these new engine build cards.
Yep.
And instead of having to wait for your translator to come out, you can go and race for all these black tokens, and you'll spend them to get these engine build cards that will then make one of your actions stronger, or you can push them across the actions and make things stronger. And so I find that sets up minor to mid specializations early in the game, and it lets you really explore how you can make the most out of one action where you're stronger than everyone else, and use that will still feed everyone else's actions that they've been specializing in and become stronger. But it just gets things going and gets things diverting a bit earlier.
Yep.
And it made such a... It's been a long time since I've come across an expansion that has really made the base game that much better.
Shinier.
So, yeah.
So especially a spray that... Oh, shiny.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, that...
I already like the base game. I already like it.
Yeah, for me, it was really, really strong. It was a 2023 game originally, so 2025 expansion, body of books.
There you go. My number 9 is the White Castle Duel. This is a thematically dual version of the White Castle, but obviously 2 players, and the mechanics is different. Yes, there's some engine building to it. Yes, it is in the similar era, but the action itself is really good. The worker placement action is really, really, really stuffed up. Not stuffed up. It's like really brutal. It could be brutal on both players. Tarrant can explain that very well, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is so like the original White Castle, you are placing workers in one of 3 colours, and the colour will trigger a line on your board, and you can't put the same colour that is already in a stack, and so that creates the restriction and limit and incentive. The original White Castle, those were dice, and you were also drafting dice that have different numbers.
Yep.
All of that stuff is gone. Now you're just activating a space, and the space will have a couple of different actions next to it, and then you use those to go and do stuff. The scoring is all completely different now, because now basically all of your scoring comes down to 3 combinations of 2 multipliers.
Yep.
So you find an icon and you go up on a track that matches with that icon.
Have to work on it.
Or you get the 2 blue icons and you multiply them together. And so that is very different. It all looks thematically like original White Castle, but that way of scoring becomes quite different. And multipliers, they work quite well in a 2-player game, right? Because
directly affect the other player. Yeah, it's very, very... And I think my favorite part, though, there's so many good things about it, but my favorite part is when your worker, the second round, so there are 2 rounds, and the second round is by retrieving it. So first round, putting all the workers, and then second round is retrieving it. So kind of like you have to set up for the second round as well. Although you can just grab any workers, doesn't have to be your own. You can actually block your opponents that way as well, like really block it, although there are tokens that let you move the actions around, basically because they are being put on the board randomly, so you can put them around. But that's my favorite. Like, the rest is also great. It's a really great game.
Yeah, this wasn't far outside my top 10, hence I was kind of
Tarrant,
talking big about
saying
it as
this.
well.
You keep saying that, oh, I just missed it, la la la. Well, if only you put 20, then you would have it.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off yours.
Okay, fine.
My number 8 is Tacta, and very specifically real-time Tacta. I'm not that...
Okay,
to be honest,
Papiria and Tacta.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, that's okay, yeah. Light and heavy.
I'm not that big a fan of non-real-time Tacta. But real-time has been a lot of fun. So it is a game, you've got the cards that have these different shapes on them, and you can only put it down if it covers exactly the same shape. You have a deck in your own colour, and you're trying to not get your dots covered up by other players.
Yeah.
And so you want to try to put your dots in places where they've already covered something, so they can't be covered again, or where they're like squished in somewhere so no one can get at them.
Yes. I missed it because it's all very special rotation-y. I always ended up almost dotless, you know.
Dotless.
It's a thing in Tacta, no? Anyway, sorry, continue.
Can't be dotless.
Dotless. It's like my dot
close.
is only a little amount of dots.
So if you're playing a turn-based version, you're trying to like tactically put them in places where people can't grab them, or to give up the fewest number of dots you can. But in real time, everyone just stands around the table and plays cards as quickly as they can, not covering their own, but like you're not allowed to cover your own, but you can cover anyone else's. And as soon as someone is out of cards, the game ends and you go and count up the dots.
Yeah.
And so it's through in a minute and a half. You count it up quickly. It's tremendously fun in that way. And for the last hour at PAX Australia, we basically just played this over and over again.
I was playing something else.
Yes.
Oh, was I? I was doing...
Yeah, you were elsewhere at that
Yes,
time.
I was...
You were at a panel, I think.
Oh yeah, I was like, not at the panel, but watching a panel.
Yeah. But no, that to me, I always look for when you've got a real-time game, it has to be simple. There only can be 3 or 4 rules, otherwise no one can keep up with it. And this really meets that.
Yeah,
so,
like kites, you like that as well.
Yes, so Tactile, a lot of fun.
Number 8 for me is Sweetlands. This is a very sweet game. Everything is made of lollies almost, not really, but looks like lollies that I can eat. It is actually a heavy engine building game. There are lots of track advancement that you do. There's a lot of map building on your on board, and very satisfying. And then multiplayer cards.
Yes.
Again.
Indeed, you do always enjoy that. This is a game that it feels like it borrows a lot from, and I'm not attempting to say this in a bad way, but it has feelings of a lot of the classic heavy games from the last 10 years. So there's a lot of Terra Mystica elements, Ark Nova elements, Terraforming Mars kinds of elements. And you're building up it's worker placement. It is a semi-competitive worker placement because your cards are effectively action points and you can either play a card as your turn, or you have to discard a number of cards equal to how many players have taken that slot. So if you want to go somewhere that someone else has got in first, you have to give up more of those action point cards to do it.
Sounds like deja vu. We recently played Brass Pittsburgh, although we can't really talk about it yet at this stage, but, play cards, do your action. So,
indeed.
Yeah, you'll hear about Brass Pittsburgh from us soon. But back to Sweetlands. It is a very great, satisfying game. And they are, you will be, I think at least you would, when you play it, several times you'll be like, I should have gone there first. Sometimes it's very punishing. You just can't really have enough turns in a game, in a round. So there's always things that you want to do. You're building boards and you also upgrading your map as well, and that makes your income higher of a certain resources. It's kind of like thematic as well. Yes. And it is asymmetric for each player as well, which is the power that you can unlock. So each player has their own requirements on their own board, and then their special building, they can build it if they've complete the requirements, and those requirements are different for each player.
This has a very, very slow start, very fast finish. You will certainly have way more ability to take action from a resource standpoint later in the game than earlier.
Definitely. It's very oh my god, I just have this much resources or income, all the income that you need to increase. Yeah.
And you do a lot of, again, this is a very Terra Mystica kind of thing. You do a lot of exchanging of resources for other resources at really terrible exchange rates because you need that specific type of resource.
Oh,
you can't just do a simple exchange.
We do it all the time, Sweetlands, a very sweet game.
And very heavy. And we come to my number 7, which is also very heavy. It is Speakeasy. So Speakeasy, it's a Vital Lacerda game, and it's...
I knew this. I didn't like a shock face. It's a fake shock face. Sorry, continue.
And it's really the first one of his games that's really taken me back to some of the things I loved about Vinhos when I first played that. That's still, I think, my favourite of Vital's games. And some of the things that felt familiar there, this is effectively a dudes on the map kind of game. You're going to be putting down your buildings on the map, and those are going to be scoring 3 times during the game for majorities. And they're pretty simple kinds of majorities because there's only a couple of spaces in each area. But they're big scoring majorities. And it kind of has that feeling, and you stop at Vinhos 3 times to score the fair. Yeah. It kind of has that type of thing.
Yes.
There is a turn order changing action, which is, again, I always remember with Vinhos that it took you a whole turn to go and change turn order out of 12 turns, but sometimes it was super important to do that. And this has that as well. You've got to go and spend it. Okay, it's actually not that weak a turn because you take some bonus actions with it, but you go and do that. It's got a clever setup where the mob is all over the board and you can go into places with the mob and fight them when they're weak, and then it's harder to do that because you still have to fight them, but Speakeasy is going to be on the board forever because you've done that. Or you can go in where it's expensive or where it's cheap and where there's nothing there to start with, but you know, because every district gets hit by the mob eventually, you know the mob is going to come in harder and stronger later on, and the cops are going to come in harder and stronger later on because you've also got to deal with the cops. But that can be okay. There's 3 majorities to score, and if you can get good points out of it before the mob comes and breaks your kneecaps, then that can still pay off across the course of the game.
Punishment is really great, really, really big. That's probably why I like it, but I feel like so punished all the time. I'm like barely above the water. So beside that, it is an enjoyable game.
Yeah. It also has a really clever mechanism with the money. It's a money laundering mechanism.
Yes.
The game is all
fun.
about getting the most money, but some comes into your... some is obtained legally and some goes into the safe. And if you want...
launder.
It all counts the same to victory, but if you want to spend your dirty money, you've got to launder it and you lose half its value.
Yep.
So essentially, if you're playing a low cash-in-hand game, everything is costing you double in victory points.
Yep.
It's also a competitive worker placement type of thing, which, that's always good. That choice to go and do something before someone takes it from you. So it's a really, very enjoyable game. My number 7.
My number 7 is going to be a little bit different. I'm actually, I just realized that I'm just like sitting not right anymore, not straight anymore. I was like, how long has it been? An hour? Yes. So hopefully you'll listen to this by, I don't know, doing chores maybe, or it can be a podcast style listening as well. All right. So back to number 7. It is technically not 2025 games. All right. Last year I did Captain's Chair, which is technically 2026 game. No, sorry. 2025 games on 2024 top games. So this year, because it's the game is widely distributed in 2025 and got in 2025 as well. I didn't know about it until 2025. This is Phoenix New Horizon by Devi Games. So originally it was distributed by published by Pero Local Game and distributed by Devi Games. Hence I got it while it was already on Devi Games. This is a worker placement combo-tastic game. You are building a post-apocalyptic world, building generators, houses, and trying to even upgrade your worker placement action to get a better action, and while upgrading things on your board for chaining it together. Now, the most favorite part of this game for me is the combo-tastic, although it could be a little bit of longer turn for each player, but anyway, combo-tastic and the contract mechanics. So it's very satisfying because there's contract that you are trying to achieve and you gain it in several different ways. Very satisfying when you do your action and then complete contracts at the same time, almost after every action. So you can do it before your action or after your action. You get the right contract on your hand and you play it. And the actual reward is not only points, it could also be an action, which makes it like even more combo. That's my favorite part of Phoenix New Horizon.
Yeah, it's quite a traditional feeling Euro game. It only has one resource, which is fuel.
Yep.
And you're using it to build stuff on a map. It's just I put my building there. But then there's end game objectives that you can go and chase that make certain types of buildings worth more. There's tracks that can make certain types of buildings worth more, and you're trying to find all of those to maximize the points for what you've built on this common map, because it is a common map. You can build under anyone's generator, gives them a perk, so it's quite interactive and quite simple in that way.
Yeah, interactive as well. There you go. Your turn, Tarrant. I'm trying to speed it up. Come on.
My number 6 from Speakeasy, takes it down to a very tiny box, is Orbiter.
Yeah.
So Orbiter is a
game.
2-player, I'll call it a trick-taking game, although it doesn't look like a trick-taking game in a conventional sense.
Yeah.
It has no numbers.
Yeah.
You get 14 cards of different colours, and there's just 7 cards in each of 4 colours, and your opponent has that as well. And it is a game where you cannot reorder the cards in your hand. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at this hand of cards, if you think of it from a trick-taking standpoint, if you've got one blue card with no blue cards next to it, that's effectively a blue 1. If you've got 2 red cards next to each other, that's effectively a red 2, because you have to play them together as 2 red. If you've got more than 3 cards together, so if I had 4 purple, for example, I can't play that as 4 purple. I would have to split it, but I can choose whether I split it into a 1 and a 3 or a 2 and a 2. Each turn, one player plays one of their card sets, and then the other player plays a card set of a different colour. And each of those plays moves markers for that colour, that number of steps around a track that tells you what that colour is worth. And then to actually figure out who won the trick, you compare the final values of those 2 things. And the
it's very good. The scoring is very good.
The values go up as the game goes along and down as the game goes along later. So you have to try to time the cards in your hand as you play cards and they come together. So now my 2 1s have become a 2, things like that. And then at the end, it's this great 2-player push and pull type of thing where you're scoring majorities. Each colour, you work out whether you have more than your opponent, and you score based on what your opponent has. So the best thing you can do is win a majority 4-3, because that's worth 3 points.
3 points, yeah.
That then opens this thing where if your opponent is already racing ahead, you just try to contrive the tricks so that they win all the rest. And if they win 7-0, they get no actual points out of it. So all of this is compacted into a very simple 10-minute game, and it's exactly the level of decision space that I think is perfect for a 2-player 10-minute game. Highly recommend. This is from Korean board game.
Korea board game. Very recommended. I think like they have a few games, and this is the one that I picked that I think that you would like, and I was correct.
You absolutely were.
I actually like as well, just didn't make it. Anyways, at least I just let go of you as well. Yes, it's a good game. My number 6 is Assyria. This is Assyria 2nd edition by Garfield Games. This is a very very juicy, very awesome game of engine building, and then knowing that your house is going to go away at the end of the first era or the end of round 3. There's the 6 rounds. End of round 3, your house is going to be gone and you have to rebuild again, but it's a necessary thing.
Yeah, this was originally a 2009 game, which we did not play in its original version. So I can't tell you how much it's changed, but I know it changed enough that they were happy to put Sam and Shem's names on the box alongside the original designer. And yes, it is a competitive little map placement game. Every round you are putting down houses, and those houses, you could just then immediately let them starve. If you want to use them to get action points and locations where you can build ziggurats and stuff, you have to feed them to keep them on. And there's this draft where you get the cards. So that's a turn order draft. Again, you can get not much food but have best placement. So I love that kind of thing.
Love it. Have to work on your action points. That's why you need to build your houses.
I shouldn't be saying why I love it. It's why you... Sorry.
This is very...
This might be coming up soon on mine. But you can do that, do those things, and it becomes this tight place for me there. All right, it's my number 4.
Okay, you're fine.
It's my number 4.
It's out there. All right, yeah.
So you're doing that. You can place on...
jumped.
You place on rivers and it gives you action points. You place on the side, it gives you places to build buildings, and it blocks other players out.
Very tough decision in a very, very good way.
And in an interactive way, as I say. It gives you that chance to fight over turn order because you can see that you need to place in a certain way. And then halfway through the game, because when you place on the rivers... This is quite nice. You place on the rivers and that tells you how many action points you get. So if someone has really dominated the rivers, they're getting a lot of action points for all the general Euro stuff. Like after all this cool stuff, there's general Euro stuff with tracks and things, which doesn't really bear comment for me. But if you dominate the river, that's fine. Halfway through the game, it all gets washed away off the river. The rest of it stays.
Don't cry over it.
And then it's a battle.
We warn you.
And then it's a battle again to go and hunt down those action points. And
the points are kind of like coming from the ziggurats, but then they also have things, depending on which one you pick, they also have powers and makes your action stronger and more powerful. And certain things will give you discount, and you can only build it layers and layers and so on. It's a very good game.
Yep. Well, that's
What's
fun.
number 5
So
now?
it was your number 6 was Assyria, and my number
Yes.
5 is Oliver.
Yeah.
And Oliver, remember 4 hours ago when I spoke about the
Yep.
second game in
More like 6.
Pythagoras' Portuguese industry series? Oliver is game 3 in that series. And as I spoke before, I like simple production chains and high interaction. And this is even simpler a production chain than Lata, but equally high interaction. Not as nasty, but equally high interaction.
You're nasty. I like your expression.
Because the production chain here is I get olives, I press it into olive oil and I sell it, or my farm produces some other thing that I automatically sell.
Yeah.
And so it's just olives, olive oil and money. It is a game of trying to line your actions up with what other players are doing. So the 2 cards you played in the previous round are face up on the table. The 2 cards you play this round you put face down. And then as you go around revealing them, you take that action with a strength equal to how many of that same action is visible around everyone. And so you want to do what other players are doing, but of course that creates competition for what other players are doing. You want to time it right, and then you ultimately use that to go and spend olive oil and money to buy points. This is very Lata again. You're buying raw points, or you're buying cards for countries, and those countries get more. The cards that have the countries on them, you either buy them for the points or you set them aside for the action that's on it. But every time one gets set aside, it makes that country more valuable in the final scoring.
I should make it game number 10B. 10.5.
Yeah. We could all do a lot of 10.5s if given the chance.
10.5, 10.6, 10.7.
Yeah.
Yep.
It has that Lata scoring as well. There's a card for everything that you can do, and if you go and buy that at the right time, you can. That'll give you points.
Yeah.
And every points card you get goes into your deck and chokes it up. So you either spend actions getting them out of your deck. You don't lose the points, but you get them out of your deck, or you just leave them in there and hope you have enough actions to take by the end of the game because you draw 5.
Yep.
So I think it's great. It's not the highly strategic, very programmable game like Lata is.
Luck as well.
It's a little bit push your luck. There's bits of flukiness around what happens, but
it's part of it.
It is part of it. Yeah. And again, we said it with Lightning Train. Everything that has some sort of deck building aspect to it has that. Deck building is the role to move of the gamer.
What? No. Are you saying that I love roll to move of the gamer? That's so mean.
I mean, right?
No, it's not.
It kind of is.
Okay, please comment if you agree with me or Tarrant.
It's the form of luck which we accept.
No, it's a push or luck is more roll to move, maybe.
Yeah. All right, I've said something controversial here.
Very controversial. I am not happy about it.
This makes my meatball sub wavelength clue.
Okay, that's probably another story.
Yeah,
it's a story for another day.
We're a little too long into this.
Okay.
That is Oliver. That is my number 5, and I really am looking forward to games 4 and 5 in that Pythagoras series because I like the cafe as well.
Yep. Number 5 is Pilgrim's Curious Adventures, the game that I missed from Essen 2025, but finally got it at the end. And this is based on the video game Pilgrims, which is the video games is about puzzle adventure. You're trying to solve puzzles, walking around several scenes, and you are recruiting characters and gaining items, collecting items. And this is what happened in the game. It's a puzzle movement. So you do have 4 different basic movements you can do, like sideways, diagonal, like L, like the horse in the chest, the knight in the chest, and so on. And you can only do once of those movements in the round. So all 4 is done. And then as you land, you collect items or recruit characters, which you can do to make your actions more stronger. And the aim of the game is, why you want to do that is by doing contract fulfillment. So you gain the contract and then put it in your pile, and those contracts usually give you stronger actions for next time. So it's really good. So contract fulfillment, not only, oh yeah, that's, whatever for the end of the game, but this will really drive your action stronger. That's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, it's quite neat. It's got a little bit of a
So
splendory
cute.
kind of feel to it.
Yes.
But it is about getting the character, getting the item that character wants, so you can use that character's power. But then also getting the item that the contract wants and trying to make that overlap as much as possible, so that you can then get the contracts, which also have engine building on them.
Simple, yet very effective. I also like the characters. It's super cute. It is like in the video games. You don't have to play the video games, but you can see that the characters in the video game are in the board game. All right, it's been 2 hours, Tarrant.
Hasn't been 2 hours. It's been a little bit over one.
It's really cute. I love the art.
Yeah, and it has a lot of art because I think it borrows a lot of it from the video game. It's allowed them to do a lot of individual pieces.
Yeah. All right, your turn.
My turn. My number 4 was Assyria. Your turn.
You already said that. How much you like Assyria, right?
Yes, I've already done it.
Anything else you'd like to add to it?
No, nothing else I'll add to it. I said it all.
Okay. My number 4 is Recall, which is the spiritual successors of Revive. Revive, we didn't like so much. It was okay. Recall, number 4. It's a lot of engine building. What my favorite is the key action. You just slot the key, do the action there, and you can upgrade your actions as well. And in Recall, you're building the map from one corner, so things are very tight. There are many ways to score points, and it's like that. And then there's this balance. All right, you want to do, maybe you gain more keys so you can do more actions. You only start with a small amount of keys, so you can only do small amount of actions. And you kind of like the balance of want to do the recall action, which is unplugging everything and then activating certain bonus, resetting something else, or keep doing it and not gaining the recall bonus. So, it's like one of those, I can't remember, there are a few games that are like that, where you want to reset. It's good to reset, but you don't want to do it too much, depending on how strong is your reset bonus.
Yeah, much like Revive, which had all of the little action spaces you would unlock, and then you'd have the energy tokens that you could move in, so you triggered them each once per reset cycle. This has that as well. It looks different, but it is fundamentally the same, and that gives you a whole lot of combos.
Yeah, and then the track.
Yes, and I enjoyed it more than Revive as well. The fact that you are going from a corner all in the same direction, I think, was one of the biggest improvements, because it meant there was a lot more interaction, things getting more expensive when a player had already gone there.
All right, one more. It's combo-tastic as well, all right? So you can just chain your actions by collecting these special gems, and then you can build that action. You can just put your gems for extra actions, and then chaining it in a good way. And then as you upgrade the key that you activate, the key would have extra actions it can do as well. So, whew, so cool.
Yes, your 13th turn is enormous.
Yes, I love it.
Unless you're recalling. All right, we come to number 3, and number 3 is my favourite party game of the year. It is a very, very small box game. It is from Oink Games. It is Petticoat. Petticoat. You see so many party games out there, and they're different plays on words and drawing and lying to each other. This one is a pattern recognition game, and you draw 5 cards, and they're all these combinations of a dog, a cat, and a bird, or a red hat, a blue hat, and a yellow hat, or a number from 1 to 5. And you draw 5 of them and a question mark in a row. And then your brain decides what goes where the question mark is. And then you have to match with other people. And then you all argue about how you saw the pattern. And you get this insight into how other people's minds' patterns work.
It has to be played with the right group, obviously. And then we got the groups that really had fun with it. It is a really... I'm actually feeling happy that some of these games that, sometimes, I'm usually the one that go to overseas convention, and we might discuss, okay, you want this and this, but there are some of these games that are on your top list that I actually want. I think Tarrant would like it, and then you love it. Yay!
Yes, well picked.
Thank you.
Yes, as you say, it is a game. Pedicate is a game that is going to work with certain groups extremely well and fall flat with other groups.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of board gaming groups are people who are going to enjoy having a pointless meta argument about how a pattern forms together. I think the hobby draws that kind of.
Some people argue too much. So if you enjoy argument about nothing, then Pedicate.
It works quite well.
Very well.
Also played it at Christmas with my family, and it did about as well as I expected, which is not that well.
Yes, and your family will watch this.
Yeah, and I mean, we brought it and I took it out knowing it was going to fail because that's just not the kind of meta argument that we have. But most of my board gaming groups would have the kind of meta argument that makes Pedicate great.
Yeah.
So, and it's a very quick game as well. It's
a
fella, so...
Yeah, oink games. Yay. My number 3 is... We're playing charade now.
Our throats are that sore that we're...
we're doing it with sign languages. Kingdom Crossing.
And my number 2 is Kingdom Crossing as well. We both really enjoyed Kingdom Crossing. Mm-hmm. It's in both of our top 3s. So
very cute animals. Firstly, let's just put it out there.
Yes. And it is... I remember this was our number 1 game each in September, and I was very unhappy with how I described it. I remember being very disappointed. So I've thought about how to explain this.
But you had how to play, which is really good already.
Right. So it's very easy to think of Kingdom Crossing as the Seven Bridges of Königsberg game, because that's kind of the hook. But let's set that to the side and describe what this game is. Mm-hmm. Over 4 rounds... it's a tableau builder, and over 4 rounds, 4 turns per round, you're going to move your meeples, subject to movement restrictions, to a place where you are going to buy a card, and that card will have a colour, which combos for incomes and the first half of a scoring multiplier, and it's going to have an effect, which is going to combo for the second half of the scoring multiplier. On top of that, some cards are cheap and some are expensive, so you need to have the right money at the right time. And some of the cards, well, all of the cards get bonus tokens at the start of the round, so there's this incentive to go and chase them early before the one with the bonus token is gone. So already, that's awesome, right? Yeah. If you ignore the rest, that is awesome because you've got that two-dimensional card tableau thing with multipliers, with incentives to go across, incentives to go up, but then you've also got all these timing things on the board. And I always love a game where you've got to go and chase something before someone else gets it.
That's a lot of that in this game.
Yeah, so then you take that and you overlay the fact that the movement puzzle is this perfect representation of the Seven Bridges of Königsberg, which is the old thing that you see in a lot of... they had to invent a whole theory of mathematics to prove it, but then you see it in a lot of high school textbooks these days, is that it's a configuration of 7 bridges and it's impossible to walk an unbroken path that crosses each bridge exactly once without doubling back over a bridge. And that's what they put in the game.
That's it. This is like you get points, you get extra points if you're able to manage to do that. There is hot air balloon, the one that will transport your worker from one to another, enabling you to do that because unsolvable otherwise. You can't cross it without doing it twice.
Yeah, so I really enjoy that you've got this movement restriction. Like you could overlay this and have it be a real gimmick, but it's not a gimmick. It works so perfectly with a movement restriction worker placement kind of thing. Yep. And it overlays with some tiles where you have tiles that tell you exactly how many steps you have to move, and you use that tile for the round, so you also kind of plan ahead there.
It's so good. It's so hard to... those cards, the tableau building cards, they have different bonus, different requirements as well. Sometimes you want to get it there, get it a bit later because it depends on how many workers you have already placed on the board, but then other people might just snatch it. And it's also the banner that you want to build your tableau to gain certain bonuses. It's like, oh, do I want to get it now? Do I want to get it later? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, the fact that there's ones that are better when you get them earlier, better when you get them later. It's all this timing stuff for what is ultimately a mid-weight Euro where most of what you're building is yourself. And the other thing the thing I enjoy about this, I'm an old... I did pure maths as one of my majors at uni. I always enjoyed maths at high school. I got this
so good.
when you gave me this game to learn, because we could do how to play for it. I had never heard of it. I didn't read about it. I just saw a fairly generic name and a beaver on the box, and then I opened it up, and then I laid out the board, and I'm like, that's the 7 Bridges of Königsberg. I must know more.
It doesn't say anything on the BGG or anywhere, right?
Maybe it does, I'm not sure. But that was just, I think most people probably go into the game
not
knowing what it's going to be. So the fact that I got this excitement.
It's kind of like a hidden gem. It's like it looks generic, basically. What are you saying here? Name's generic, the box looks generic, and then all of a sudden it's this wonderful thing.
Absolutely. So yeah, Kingdom Crossing, comes highly recommended as a midweight Euro from both of us. Number 3 and number 2.
And my number 2 is Hot Streak. It is a party game that we play like we bring to so many different party opportunities and everyone loves it.
Yes.
It's almost like, what is it called?
Camel Up without all of the
I was going to say Camel Up or Camel Cup. Camel Up without the tactics. So no skills are needed. It's just betting on which mascots they are going to finish first. It is hilarious.
Yes, it is a wonderfully produced game. You've got a racetrack with these plastic figures of mascots in giant hot dog costumes. There are cards that make them run and bumble around the track. And you're betting on who's going to win or who's going to get disqualified or whether someone's going to get eliminated. There's lots of ways for them to get eliminated, so it's always a barrel of laughs.
It's very, very great. It's highly recommended. It plays a lot of players, and you can just sometimes you just explain it briefly and then play it as you do it, and that just works.
Yes.
Once somebody played the first round, then they will be able to just play the next one, almost guaranteed, and there's no winner. So what it is depending on how much money you have at the end of the game, then they'll tell you your life story after that.
Yes, you read a funny quip out of the rulebook.
Yeah.
It's the kind of game where you get memorable stories from ridiculous things happening.
Yes.
The most memorable we've had was, I think,
the sausage.
Lots of people had gone in on risky bets on the hot dog.
Yeah, hot dog, yes.
And the first 2 cards drawn were turn around, walk 3 spaces.
And then gone.
Just straight off the back of the track, disqualified.
Lost.
Inside 10 seconds. So.
Yes, also although not as epic as when you were a marshal in Cold Express, but that's another story, another day.
Yes, it doesn't quite. Again. That's still my favorite story.
Okay, all right then. All right, now your number 1, which is also my number 1.
We have a shared
number 1. That's very unusual. Shared number 1.
It's been a while. I think we did a couple of years ago. I think Dinosaur Island, Raw and Right.
Okay, let's just spill it. It's ants. Ants. They've been waiting enough. Ants is from Cranial Creations. It looks a bit like Rats of Vista. It is not Rats of Vista. Rats of Vista is okay. Ants was like excellent. Oh, so many of our friends also played it, and then it just plays so good. And it reminds me of Ark Nova animal card play, where you need to meet the requirements. You need to time it right when to play the cards.
Yeah, I would say I have thoroughly enjoyed Terraforming Mars, Ark Nova, any games where you do have that card play, that card tableau play, and you've got to build up towards that. Mm-hmm. It's a very popular mechanism out there, and I've always enjoyed that as well. Mm-hmm. But what Ants introduces is this level of interaction with other players that those games don't have in a really fascinating way. The best one for me is getting the cards. It was always the thing I found. Getting the cards to your hand.
Okay.
I had always found that to be, in those other two games, you're fishing through the deck, but in this time you've got
3 by 3.
3 by 3 3 by 3 grid to go from, but each row corresponds to one of the actions, and your actions kind of have this harken over reaction queue thing, and so you need to be prepared to do not your optimum action if you see your optimum card come up.
Yeah, and then that's
Hard
very
decision,
important.
and that's
Optimum
great.
card. Optimum card is important because there's many combinations and you want to get to certain combination that really is like, if you don't do that, resources would be really hard. You'll have a hard time basically if you don't do that.
There's a interactive thing out on the board where every hex has 6 points around it and 4 resources go onto it when it gets explored.
That's really good as well.
So only 4 of the 6 ants placed around it are going to forage it. So it becomes this race, and you want to be there when the last one is taken because you also get a bonus pheromones out of that. So again, you've got this interaction out here.
And one of my favorite also is that the workers are ants. Your action strength is depending on how many ants you have in that area, right? So there are ways to manipulate that, pay more food to gain more strength, but every end of, like, if you want to do a reset turn, you put the thing, push the top one down. It's like there's like 3 different boards. Push the top one down, and then the middle up. It indicates like the egg lava into lava to ants. So ants ready to work. Your workers ready to obey your commands and you can manipulate those workers. You can bring workers from left to right to the actions. Maybe you want to focus on the stronger action that you already built. Maybe you want to bring the lava into the workers right away by certain action that lets you upgrade them faster. It's fascinating.
Yeah. I love the pacing of the game.
Yeah.
It has this really explosive ending because and you can't do everything. I don't like being able to do everything.
Fair.
Everyone has 9 star tokens and they each represent 3 objectives, and they're the same for everyone. But it's the 3 same objectives. It's not highly asymmetrical, so they've been well balanced.
Yeah.
And the game end is going to trigger. In a 4-player game, the game end triggers when 12 of these 36 total stars across all players are out.
It's like no one's putting things out there all of a sudden, like bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, that will race up.
Yeah.
The points for those really escalate. There's a couple of other big scoring things that you can go and race for. So it really escalates towards the things that score a lot of points. And it makes you think so carefully about, again, coming back to, do I do this weak action to get the perfect card? Because I know that when the game explodes, that's going to help me. It is really well put together.
Yep. I will put in the comments below a question that you can only find the answer by watching this video. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to let us know what your top games of 2025 is. And see you next time. Have a good day. Bye.